Good morning, just good morning to all listeners out there. We want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. This is WCN Radio, amazing broadcast that we are really excited about. And we hope that you stay with us and we hope that you really sit back and enjoy this amazing conversation on how to talk between sisters. And without any further ado, I will leave you to the host of the day, Dr. Dianna. And while we're waiting on Dr. Diane and her special guest to bring us this amazing story on how to talk between sisters, we want you to sit back and just with bated breath because this is going to be an exciting and a really exciting moment for all of us as we bring the world this amazing segment that we've done several times, but we have decided to bring it back because by public demand, women all over the world reaching out to us to redo it. And so, as we wait on our special guest to come into the studio, we hope that you will. We're going to just chit chat a little bit with Dr. Diane. So, Dr. Diane, if you can open your microphone and have us talk a little bit
Okay,
until you get to it.
okay. Very beautiful afternoon from here. It's quite sunny from Lagos to Nigeria. I'm very excited to be hosting this show today on the 16th of February 2024. Today with us,
Yes, we are excited to have you as well. And we're
yeah,
excited to
thank you,
hear
Dr. Clarence. Thank you.
the
Today with
wonderful
us, we are
story.
Yes, today with us, we are expecting a very special guest, a very interesting story, all the way from Mali. I'm sure today's episode will be quite an interesting one. But pending the time we're waiting for us to join us on the studio, we can just have a little bit of rapport about, life expectancy and the role of a woman, in the society and the likes like that. I would like to have a chat with Dr. Clarence first, spending the time we're waiting on our guest, on those important issues of life, basically the expectation of the society regarding a woman, you know. So, Dr. Clarence, why do you feel that the society in itself expects so much concerning a woman, you know. They expect, especially the African perspective. I know you are not African. Expect a woman, to basic what everything is going wrong. They expect it is the fault of the woman. Why do you think it's like that in the society?
Well, one of the things that we have to embrace, whether we want to or not, is that without women, life cannot happen. New life cannot happen. And so women play a very crucial role in this world. She's the mother. She brings to the table something that male men cannot bring to the table. And so she plays a very crucial and important part in populating the world. Not only in populating the world, she is a nurturer, she is a carer, she's a lover, she's full of wisdom. And so the importance of the woman in this world, it is so crucial. No matter how successful you are as a man, no matter how small you are as a child, your mother plays a key role in getting you there if you're successful or bringing you here. So without her, there's no existence of life. There's no nurturing of life. A lot of us that have grown up as men and have accomplished a lot of things, whether we become presidents or doctors or lawyers or whatever we become, the mother has a key role because she's the one has nurtured you, took you to school, early school, elementary school, secondary school, and she's been there all along. And the thing about it is that what we have to understand is when mother is gone, when she's deceased, there's a big chunk of you that is gone. But at the same time, she remains with you because of everything she has instilled in you. That's the importance of the
Okay, you are giving us from the manly perspective of
mother perspective. Well,
yeah.
male or female, whether you are a female as well, she plays that role. You know, there's a saying that says, "The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world." So the hands that meaning the hands that nurtured you and brought you into the world and trained you up, you carry on that legacy of mother in you. She's given you roots and she's given you certain things that even though she's not here after a while, those things, those legacies that she's left in you, those principles, those things that she's trained you up and weaned you to become, you carry on. So mother continues whether she's alive or whether she's deceased. Mother continues in each one of us. We carry her all the time.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Clarence. I think that's also, but to me, in my own little opinion, I think too much pressure is being put on women, and I will come from the African perspective. I don't know how it happens in the Caribbean over there, but I will tell you what it is when you're expected, or how a woman is being perceived here. They have I mean, little
Microphone is not
investment.
scared. You can back up a little bit for you might be fine.
Okay, okay. They have little bit in Africa
Excellent.
now. There's a perspective that African like as a female child, there should be a limitation to how your parents invest in you in the aspect of education because they believe that at the end of because Africa gratifies so much, in the continuity of the family name. Being a female child, you don't continue on your family name, you pick up your husband's name and you continue in that female child. So the investment, that should be made on that child should be, minimal. So most times that's why we have quite a lot of female child that is out of school in Africa because they believe, you know, that once you are able to attend the preschool, and the secondary school, which we call the graders over there, expect the woman to fix the family. At the end of the day, you expect the woman to support the husband financially. Somebody that is not educated, how can you support your husband financially? You expect the woman to support, the family spiritually for the children, to be there for the family. How do we put all these things, merge it together when there's little things I feel we have basically, I don't know if it's peculiar to Africa alone, but I know these are the peculiarities in Africa region as to, the expectation of a female child and, and what female children are experiencing basically, in Africa that is impending, their growth. And you see quite a lot, because of this lack of, education or little to, or let me say, access to little basic education. You see most times the female child, they have this a lot, we hear of domestic violence, you know, here or there, and you are
Hmm.
like, oh, you know, I don't think an educated person will have so much issue of domestic violence because I think they will be able to speak up for themselves. But somebody that is not educated, all they believe in submit to your husband, anything he says, it has to be, whether you want it or not. These are the stigmas a female child. Whether you want it or not, you have to follow suit. If he says go,
Heart
whether
Talk
you want
between
to go or
Sisters
not,
radio
you
broadcast.
have to, follow suit on that. If not, you become disrespectful to your husband and you are tagged as a bad woman, you know. So, and basically because of this, there are a lot of issues that are raging on domestic violence because you are not expected to talk. You are not, once you
Yeah.
are married, you are with a man, there's a stigma that comes with divorce in Africa. Let us start with that. So it is expected that you stick to that marriage, you stick to that man, no matter what you are facing, you stay there. No matter the circumstances, you must stay there. You must endure and you must be able to fix it. To me, I feel this is madness. I don't know, maybe you have another opinion regarding this, but to me, I just feel it's madness. I'm
Well,
not comfortable somewhere, and because of the stigmatization, in the society, I am being forced to stay there. Because of rejection from family, I am being forced to stay there. It's madness. I don't know if it's happening the same way in Caribbean. Maybe you can enlighten us because to me, it's madness. I must
well,
confess.
one of the sad points about a lot of what you said there is true, and it's based on a culture of that has oppressed and beaten down women, somebody who's supposed to be cherished and really looked up to because of the position that God has placed her to be on the earth. And it's just unfortunate that in some cultures, like the ones you're talking about, that women are in some countries. I see the level of oppression, lack of education, jobs, in some cases not able to vote, forced marriages, and all abuse and rape, and we could go on and on about the atrocities and that has gone on in some areas, and even with the help of some governments that doesn't recognize the woman for who she is. Old cultures with old bad traditions have taken root into the souls of men, and you can see across the spectrum of the diaspora and other countries. You have women who are beaten down, and the reason why we are bringing up this whole thing about heart talk between sisters is because we realize that women need a place to to speak out, to tell their stories, to share, to build camaraderie and friendship and bond and find support, because it's a place where they get a voice. It's a place where we try to develop a comfort place, a level place, a place where she's respected, a place where she can have her own voice and have a sisterhood where she can express all that she has been through to her sisters. It's a wonderful place, a place of freedom. And this is what we're trying to build in this new community of Heart Talk between sisters. And this is the place where we believe the transitioning of getting to know her for all that she is valued, for getting to know the woman who we've grown to call mother and friend and sister. And we hope that in the conversations that you will have with your sisters, your woman friend, the friendship and the bonds that you all are going to find, you're going to find strength. You're going to be able to encourage other women as they listen to the conversations, the stories. Some are going to be gut wrenching, some are going to be horrible, some are going to be, but we will still see coming through the strength of those women as they come forward and share their stories with us. And we are looking forward to that this morning. I think your guest is here, and I'm going to sit back and just relax and enjoy this wonderful conversation. So is your listening audience that I'm sure is waiting with bated breath. So go right ahead from here on.
Thank you very much, Doc. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. Finally, we have our guest here. We have Madam Michelle Medina, all the way from Mali. Our story is one that I've known her for some time, but I didn't really get to know her story. But having read one or two things, I'm like, wow, she will be the perfect candidate for other women, for us to bring on the show today, for other women to learn from. She has a very interesting story, and her story is that of resilience and strong woman. We have now, I think Madam Michelle, you are here. Okay, yeah, she's back. Okay, we have
Yes,
Madam
I am
Michelle.
here.
Yeah, I will do an introduction. Just hold on. I'm very much excited because I know what she went through to be able to join us on the show today. I can tell you that she's the perfect example of a strong woman, of a strong African woman. So over to you, Mother Michelle. You can do a short
Hello,
introduction of
yes, can you
yourself,
hear me?
your achievements. Yes, we can. We can. You can do a short introduction of yourself and your achievements
Okay,
thus far. We are
okay.
live.
So I'm Michelle Madina Sojanti. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Madina Sojanti.
Hi,
I'm
Michelle.
speaking. Hi, everybody. I'm here from Mali. So my story is that my mother is from Mali, Tenankou, she's Alpular, and my dad is from Haiti, in the Caribbean, with a family who lives mostly in the U.S. and Canada. Myself, I was born in Cote d'Ivoire, where I grew up, and by my job actually was a CPA. I'm a US CPA in the state of Pennsylvania, but I've changed my life and turned it over to be an entrepreneur in art and culture here in Mali to promote the destination Mali, to promote the art and culture of Mali, and promote everything Mali actually and Africa and diaspora.
Okay, thank you, Mother Misha. I was feeling you take it little by little because there are different segments, you know. But nevertheless, I'm sure that we're going to get deep into the story to your single lifestyle.
Because my dad was an expatriate in Cote d'Ivoire. I grew up as an expatriate kid going to French school, the French school of Cote d'Ivoire, which is called the Mermoz. And I've been surrounded mostly by a very international kind of environment, the embassies, Swedish embassy, Norwegian embassies, Germany embassies. So I grew up in a very multicultural kind of environment. I also had local friends, but mostly, from like sons of ministers and stuff like that. It was a time where Houphouët-Boigny was president in Côte d'Ivoire. So we used to call it le miracle ivoirien, which means the Ivorian miracle. My dad actually came to Côte d'Ivoire to build the cathedral, the first cathedral, because at that time Houphouët-Boigny had very big projects like the cathedral, like the basilica, and my dad, who is a civil engineer, came for that actually in Côte d'Ivoire. So he's one of the top engineers on those teams for the first buildings that we had in Côte d'Ivoire and that are still functional up to now.
Okay, Mother Michelle, I was feeling we were going to dig deep into your your schooling activities, how it was like, going from grader to, high school, the likes like that, just to give us a touch of where truly you got your inspiration from. We could pick where you really got your energy from. We are still going into your career option, the reason for your career choices, marriage, family. But just to give us more hints, more perception about your kind of person. So I was feeling we're going to dig deep into that. Maybe you might
Okay,
want to
so the thing
start.
is, yeah, okay. The thing is, in my family, it was you were supposed to be a genius in everything. So I was very good at school, but I was put into ballet when I was 2 years old. So I started ballet at 2 years old. I was doing swimming. I was doing tennis. So I was a champion in tennis, in swimming. I had ballet classes. I think a very classical, I'd say, kind of bourgeoisie lifestyle, whereby I was good in quite everything, I have to say. But my heart went to ballet. Actually, I have been admitted in the French Opéra de Paris when I was 11 years old because my teacher was from the Opéra de Paris, but my mom refused. And all my life has been, until my 35 years old, has been like that my family wanted me to be a CEO and stuff, but didn't want me to go where my heart wanted to go. That was art and culture, that was dancing, singing, and
they didn't see that as a job good enough. And we're talking about marriage. So I married a white guy in
Okay,
2009.
okay, yes, Madam Michelle, let us.
Yeah,
I want the audience to be so intrigued. You are taking us each step by step. Don't let us do it
oh,
like that. Don't let
we're
us
going
rush.
step by step. So
Yes,
I grew
we
up
are
in
going step
Abidjan,
by
as
step.
I told you, in Cote d'Ivoire. French schooling. I went up to the scientific um, A level, which we call baccalaureate in French. So I had a
Okay, Madam
scientific
Michelle,
baccalaureate.
let me hold you on that.
Yeah,
The way we work things around here. I'm sure you are very much excited to also be on the show. So the way we are also
yeah,
excited to host you. Let us quickly go on a
yeah.
short break while we come back to listen to Madam Michelle life story, particularly especially from the marriage segment. We'll be right back.
Okay, perfect.
Heart Talk Between Sisters radio broadcast. Tune in to a heartwarming and enlightening radio experience like no other. Join us on a journey of love, laughter, and lifelong connections as we explore the unique bond between sisters. Our broadcast is a celebration of sisterhood, offering a safe space for candid conversations, shared memories, and inspiring stories that touch the soul. Whether you're a sister yourself or simply appreciate the beauty of this extraordinary relationship, this broadcast is for you. Discover the secrets of sisterly love, support, and understanding as we delve into personal experiences and heart-to-heart conversations that will make you smile, cry, and reflect. So, grab your favorite cup of tea, get cozy, and let our Heart Talk Between Sisters broadcast warm your heart and lift your spirits. Join us every week for an emotional journey filled with wisdom, connection, and the enduring power of sisterly bonds. Don't miss out on this extraordinary experience.
Okay.
It is important. It is very important that everyone mute their microphone when they're not speaking. There's a lot of noise coming from that. So we would ask our special guest, who we are excited about, to please mute her microphone when she's not speaking. Right now, there's a lot of noise coming back from her microphone, and I do apologize. So if you can get her to take her microphone off, um, I'd appreciate it. You can explain the rules of the studio now before you begin. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. We are back. We are still again with Madam Michelle Medina from Mali. Um, Thank you very much, Doc, for that intervention. Madam Michelle, I think you tried to go through your chats. You have one or two, information down there. But we're very actually excited. The show is progressing, and we are getting to where we are actually going to. What I find very interesting because I've had the opportunity to know Madam Michelle for some time. I've had the opportunity to go through our story, our life experiences. So what I find very interesting, and I feel that we can all learn and pick from is especially from our marriage experience. Maybe Madam Misha might want to tell us more about our marriage, our home, about every day in our marriage, how she was able to cope with both career because she used to work in a finance firm, and being an African woman, you are not supposed to do tedious work because it is expected that the family is your core responsibility. Every other thing is not even secondary. Is fourth. is fought should be fought in your agenda. So how are you able to cope with the whole experience, marriage, work, and your career, pursuing your career, doing it, you know? Maybe you can brief us on that.
Oh, okay. So I have to say something first is that in my family, we're family of women, a single woman until my great grandmother. So that is important to note that my mom herself raised four kids, four girls, as a single woman. So in my family, marriage is not that, important, but still, like all the girls, I was dreaming of the white picket fence house. So I met my husband in France, actually in Reims, at the Subdeco de Reims, where we were studying our MBA together. He was a white guy from France, love at first sight, and everything like da da da, like very fairy tale kind of meeting. We met in September. He asked me to marry him in December at the Eiffel Tower. Beautiful, proposal. We married in a French monument, which is La Cathédrale de Laon. Laon being the first actually city of kings at the time in France. And we married into that monument and we had a castle wedding. So it was a very beautiful kind of wedding and, very fairy tale kind of story. But the truth is, after 3 months in this marriage, nothing was working. And I was pregnant with my second kid because I had a first kid before meeting my husband. So I was pregnant with my L. And once I've delivered the baby, the marriage was not working anymore. We didn't have sex, nothing really. So I was working a lot. I was traveling a lot too. By now, I've done 56 countries in 252 cities. So I was always in a plane. We were not seeing each other much. And my mom came in to raise the kids. So my kids were essentially raised by my mom. And, yeah.
Yeah, that is very. So would you say you made mention that nothing was working. In recent time, have you been able to deduce why it was not working? Was it because of your working lifestyle, or was it a rash decision as a bachelor, to go into marriage? Because I think I've been able to perceive your kind of person, which is very normal, is not marriage freak because it would have
Yeah.
gotten yeah, you know,
Yeah. I surely, I
experience
surely
why
will
it didn't
say
work.
there was pressure because I became pregnant with my daughter when I was 24, and I had to leave her dad 3 months in the pregnancy because the guy was really not a good person. And right after, when she was born and she was 3 months, I was engaged with another man who also left me because he wanted me to become a Muslim 1 month before the wedding. He said, if you're not becoming a Muslim, I'm not going to marry you. And I said, I'm not going to change from Christianity to Islam just because of a man. Not because I don't, yeah, I believe, I mean, I'm a nominist, so I kind of respect all kind of belief. Myself, I come from a mixed family between Islam and Christianity and also Vodou. So it's not the problem of Islam, but it's him telling me 1 month before the wedding, if you're not becoming a Muslim, I'm not going to marry you. And we had this discussion before whereby I told him, I'm not going to become a Muslim to marry you. And he said, okay, we're going to marry in a mosque, we're going to marry in a church, and we will do everything by the book. And he actually came with me at church, and we went through what we call l'école du mariage, which is schooling. So for 4 months, he came with me at church. And then just 1 month before the wedding, he said, no, if you're not becoming Muslim, we're not getting married. So I think
Okay,
this
is that
has
is that
really
with
broke
the
me.
second man? Is that with
Yeah.
the second marriage? Oh, but regarding, we're still
No.
coming back to this.
So what
Was that the
actually
second?
happened is that we canceled the wedding, and then after the cancellation of the wedding, I was so ashamed because we had like 500 guests who were supposed to come. I was so ashamed that I had to leave Abidjan. Actually, I left Abidjan for that reason, specific reason, that I couldn't walk in the street again without people telling me, "Oh, but what about the wedding? What about the wedding?" So I decided to go to Paris, and that's how also I decided to do my MBA, and I went to Reims for the MBA. But I actually left because of his cancelled wedding. So I think the pressure was there. And when I met my husband and he asked me to marry him, I wanted to have a dad for my daughter too. My daughter was 1 year at the time. And it was more about the kids than about the marriage. So my pressure mostly came from the kids because myself, I grew up as a kid who didn't have a dad and I didn't want that for my kids.
Yeah, I totally understand. Oh, I will wish is African pressure. When you're of certain age and you are not married, you're not with husband, people believe you are not living. It
Yeah.
happens to quite a lot of but at the end of the day, we have been able to see through history that those kind of cases, you know, it brings about emotional trauma at the end of the day. So please, if you are out there, and maybe your child is of some certain age and you are feeling overly concerned, please don't pressure them. Let them do it according to when it's right for them. Please, we are throwing this way because at least Madam Michelle is strong. We are still going into some deeper, insight, but not everybody would have been able to come out, to cope with what she went through. Imagine 300 guests waiting, but she's a strong woman. She's a strong woman. She faced her fears. Not everybody, will be able to do that. Some will end up, committing suicide. Some will end up, having this stigma, for eternity or something. So please, if you're out there, you are listening to us, I'm sure you are learning from Madam Medina's story. So back to the story and back to the studio, So I have
Yeah, I
this
will.
interesting.
I just wanted to add, Diana, that even now that I'm not yet divorced because the judge didn't pronounce the divorce, but now that I'm living in Bamako, everybody's kind of pressuring me like, you are 40 years old, you should remarry. I said, but I'm not even divorced yet. Why do you want me to remarry? So this pressure is really, really, I'd say, big here in Africa.
Oh, so sorry about that. So how have you been coping with the pressure thus far? Because I know how African can be, when it comes to the issue of marriage.
I
What
mean,
would you say
as
is
of
your
now,
basic distraction? Your
I
basic
mean, as of
distraction.
now, I'm 40 years old. I know exactly what I want, and I tell that to people all the time. I've seen my mom all her life. My mom has left my dad. It's been 38 years old now. She left my dad. I was 2 years old, and now she's 70 and she's still single and she's living very happily. So I tell people, I'm like my mom. I'm not gonna settle for less. Okay, I've been already married. I have two
That's the
kids.
spirit. I love
Yeah,
that.
I have two kids. My kids are 16 and 13, so I have no pressure to remarry, and I'm not gonna remarry until somebody can, really be of value added in my life, because
Exactly.
I'm not gonna marry to just get married. It's stupid.
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't agree more with you. And I really appreciate your resilience and being a role model, a forefront, in this movement of, oh, you are of this certain age, you have to be with your husband. I so much appreciate, and what you have been through and how you didn't let it overshadow you and everything like that. But let us go back to your second marriage. You said something very interesting, that caught my attention. You said something like, you know, Muslim converting to Muslim, Christian. So at that point, you didn't want to become a Muslim. What actually shaped your decision? Because I feel we are worshiping one God. Either you're Muslim, either you're Christian. We are worshiping one God. So why were you so insistent? Was it the way it was asking that you didn't feel it's polite enough? Because I don't we are still worshiping one God. That's my own perception. I don't know about other people. Or do you see it in a different way? You know?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the exact thing. So Al being the people who really brought Islam here in Mali. So it's really Islamic as tradition. Okay, my mom saw her first church in her life when she first came to Bamako. She was like 14 years old, and she had never seen a church before. So she saw the Cathedral of Bamako, and she said, "Oh, so this exists too." Just to tell you where we come from. So I was raised in a very strong Muslim kind of environment. But when I was 7 years old, I was called by Jesus actually. Like I had a call, a voice telling me, you need to follow that Jesus. So I didn't become Catholic because, my family was Catholic. I became Catholic because Jesus called me, and I couldn't leave that faith to become a Muslim, whereby my mom fought me, everybody fought me. I was 7 years old. People say, you know nothing about life. You're going to go to the mosque. And I said, no, never. I'm going to that Christ, Jesus Christ, because he called me. And I fought against my whole family to go to church, and I finally accepted. So I became a Catholic. I first started with actually the Baptist church, because there was a Baptist church close to our house, and I knew my mom didn't like the Baptist. So I spent almost 1 year going to Baptist church. And when she saw that I was a kid of 7 years with that kind of determination, she accepted that I became a Catholic. So I then became a Catholic, baptized, communion, everything. And I went to Catholic school. So I wanted to become a nun. So my faith in that Jesus Christ is very, very strong. And I wasn't about to leave it for men. I'm not saying that I could never be Muslim in my life, and I'm actually right now learning the Quran and stuff because it's also a family heritage. But I said, no, I'm not going to do that for a man. There's things that you're not supposed to do for a man. You're doing to, especially faith and religion, it's your own conviction. It's not about somebody, it's about yourself.
Heart Talk Between Sisters radio broadcast. Tune in to a heartwarming and enlightening radio experience like no other. Join us on a journey of love, laughter, and lifelong connections as we explore the unique bond between sisters. Our broadcast is a celebration of sisterhood, offering a safe space for candid conversations, shared memories, and inspiring stories that touch the soul. Whether you're a sister yourself or simply appreciate the beauty of this extraordinary
Madam Michelle,
relationship,
do you mind to
this
mute your mic?
broadcast is for you. Discover the secrets of sisterly love, support, and understanding as we delve into personal experiences and heart-to-heart conversations that
Can
will
you
make you
mute your
smile,
mic?
cry, and reflect. So, grab your favorite cup of tea, get cozy, and let our heart talk between sisters broadcast warm your heart and lift your spirits. Join us every week for an emotional journey filled with wisdom, connection, and the enduring power of sisterly bonds. Don't miss out on this extraordinary experience.
Pour les banquets, les séminaires, les déjeuners, ainsi de suite. Et là, je viens de le transférer aussi pour la formation. Voilà. Donc, en cas de besoin, n'hésitez pas à m'appeler. Donc, on va essayer de voir peut-être la semaine prochaine, comme vous avez dit, peut-être passer à le faire pour faire une visite et en même temps échanger.
This is Doctor
Bon, le
again.
mercredi, ça vous dit. Le mercredi, comme vous avez dit dans le
This is
message.
Doc.
Donc, mercredi à partir de 15h, c'est ça?
Are you hearing me?
Yes,
Is everyone hearing me?
everybody's here.
Miss Michelle, are you hearing me loud and clear?
Hello,
Miss
Miss Michelle,
Michelle?
are you there? Hello? Miss Michelle, are you there? Hello? Okay, I think you can proceed, Doc. I think she's listening. Okay. And we are back. Miss Michelle, are you there? Oh, I think we have network issue here. So hopefully we'll be able to rectify it soon and Miss Michelle will join us. Miss Michelle, are you with us? Okay, I think we can proceed. I'm sure we're going to connect with her back. I think she's having network issue. She can't really hear us. So giving it an insight into Miss Michelle life, don't forget we are still pumped with Miss Michelle Medina from Mali. I call her the resilient, strong, and perfect example of an African woman. You know, if you're just joining us now and you've not had the opportunity to hear some of the stories she has told to us, I will just quickly give a brief summary before Ms. Michelle will join us back in the studio. I guess she's having connectivity issue. Ms. Michelle is from Mali. She got married at the age of 24 due to pressure and a life like that. She had a female child previously before our first ever marriage, and the marriage ended because both our husband and herself did not understand each other. I think they have different perception about life and maybe career, and they grew up or came from a she grew up from a single parent, that is with her mom, because apparently according to her, her mom left her father at the age of 2. So she has been without a father at the age of 2. And she grew up very well, giving her life experience, giving her career and her achievements, which I'm sure this segment we are going to go properly into. She also says to us about how, she was planning for her second wedding with over close to five, I think 500 guests, I think, for some persons that have been with us. So, but unfortunately, she had this religion issue with her, fiancé to be because they could not just agree, on a religious setup. The fiancé wanted her to become a Muslim. She insisted on becoming a Christian because she said she had the call of God to become a Christian, even though she came from a Muslim background. At that particular point, she had to leave, cancel on the wedding, leave her location, then moved to France. Doc, what do you feel about that story? What would you say? I think you agree with
Well,
us in the studio.
things about Michelle's story is almost exactly some of the areas that we were talking about, which deals with the rights of a woman, and the abuse and the subjugation of women to by men in some areas uh, to do as I say, and not realize this is a human being, this is an adult that have equal rights the
Do you
same way
actually
you
think
may have equal rights.
do you actually think the issue was do as I say, you know?
Yeah,
Let me
because he
begin with
wanted her to he wanted her to join his church in order to get married to him. It's almost like he was dictating to her to change her religion for the sake of marrying him, and
so
that
do
in
you think
itself sounds abusive.
okay. We have taken the one perception about Africa. Africa has this perspective that you have to choose the religion your husband is into. It has to be your husband's religion. And don't how I wish I'm sure she's going to come up again to connect with us. Don't be surprised that it might be like a traditional thing for them, in his family, that whoever you are marrying, has to come in this life. It might actually not really be his own, but I'm sure we will hear that from the future once it's that. But in my own perception, I actually feel that but I think they could have worked it out. So because I think if truly the man loved her the way he had proposed, I think it's something they could have worked out. Or what do you think, Doc?
Um, I think there's a number of things. There's a number of things in the story that I think maybe uh, if we had other women commenting, you would hear the cries of the other woman kind of aligning themselves with her conversation. Michelle, you are back. If you can, please, when we are you hearing me, Michelle? Michelle, are you hearing me? Michelle, are you hearing me? I don't even think she's listening to us.
Stable.
She said that internet is
Michelle,
not.
are you there?
She wrote now, she said her internet is unstable. Oh God. And
That's
this series is actually very interesting. Miss Michelle, are you here with us?
okay.
Really, d'accord. Oh,
Okay, Miss Michelle, are you back? Uh, we should just continue on the list to finish up on our story. This is actually a very interesting one. We should not allow the internet to cause unnecessary havoc. So you were saying something, Doc. I was learning from your wealth of experience, which I'm sure our listeners
The
too
thing
would
about it
want.
is that every woman has uh you know every woman is different, and every culture is different. But what I've seen over the years, based on culture and religion and everything else, there's a certain thing that either the society does or men in particular does, which is we don't recognize a lot of times that this person that we are engaged with, this person that we're about to marry, this person that we're in a relationship with, is an adult, and that person has equal rights to say yes or no and not agree with with whatever. And some people go so strong on tradition that they will compromise their beliefs, in her case, for a man. The truth about it is that you don't get out of life what you demand. You get out of life what you negotiate. And while it may be a wonderful gesture that a husband and wife belong to the same church or the same beliefs, it's wonderful. That is something you sit and discuss. That is not something you force on somebody. And so for me, with him going to her church at some point in time with her, indicated that he was willing to to go to church with her and to join her church. Something changed inside of him, and instead of sitting down and negotiating and talking to her, maybe about the likes and dislikes and stuff like that, that he didn't feel comfortable about his church, he demanded. And that demand triggered something in her that says, I'm an individual, I'm a grown woman. You're not going to tell me what to do simply to marry you. As much as I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you, you don't dictate to me. If you sit with me and talk to me, and we sit and we can negotiate and iron out the differences, there might be a possibility that I may gravitate to what you're saying. But if you're not going to do that and you're going to demand it on me as a grown person, and she has been a woman that you can tell from what she's saying, she has her own mind. She grew up in a culture, she has a strong mother and everything else, and she's not going to take these type of what I would call demands from a man who coming across as if he's a dictator. And whether you want to believe that she was wrong in doing it on the way she did it or not, she has a right as an adult to say yes or no to anything that comes into her life. And if she's uncomfortable, she has a right to reject it or accept it. And he was in a perfect position to sit with her and negotiate it. But based on his culture, I'm hearing culture coming across, and maybe the way he was
Doc,
brought up, um,
let me cut
I
you
think
on
he
that.
went the wrong way.
I remember a very interesting family here in Nigeria. It's very weird. The husband happened to be a Muslim, the wife happened to be a Christian, you know, and they gave birth. The wife was still going to church. They have five children in total. And funny enough, they gave the children liberty to choose whichever religion. We have some of their kids that go to church. We have some of their kids that go to the mosque. and there's no problem. So I actually think that should actually not be a problem, if truly true love was in question. And that's, we cannot judge because we could not hear the full story. But I actually think if true love was the core, because Christ is love, there are a lot of things we do messily and Christ just overlook it for us. So I actually, honest, if it's actually tied to like a family religion or something, or maybe a family, guideline, a family template, you know. So I think that is when
Mhm.
this, because I actually feel, could a person be that impulsive? You know, we have just few weeks to the wedding, and you said if your wife is not a Muslim, then you are not going to accept. Which sounds so weird for me. Don't forget the spending would have been in place. Quite a lot of preparation. You know, and to me, I actually feel it's not only the stigma of a man. I mean, the woman. What about the man? Do you think in that particular uh do you think if such scenario, occur, do you think the man too is always stigmatized? Or is it just the woman that is stigmatized that, oh, see, she got cut off from her wedding could not hold? I think the stigmatization is shared evenly. I'm not sure. Maybe you can give me from a manly perspective.
Well, I really think that um, there is no a stronger, depending on the traditions of that culture, that the man is the dominant figure. In some cultures, the woman, she has a say so in moving forward. The tone I picked up from him is that he he had a strong traditional or religious background, and he was not about he in a sense he wanted to compromise. Maybe there was family pressure on his heart and on his behalf to tell him you can't do that. You're the man. She's not supposed to. You're not supposed to gravitate towards her religion. She's supposed to gravitate to you. Maybe there was a lot of pressure in the back from family members and close friends in the tradition for him to do that. But I'll say this: you said something that was crucial just now, which is this: you said that maybe if it was true love, let me tell you something. Within the marriage, while both parties are to love each other, the man carries the weight, and I'll tell you why. The man carries the weight because God expects him to carry the weight. God has instituted the man to set the tone for his relationship, to set the tone for his marriage, to set the tone for his family. And love is the factor. And that love must be carried out in a way that gives equal respect, that gives equal opportunity, that gives equal place and time for negotiations. It's not a matter of demanding anything or forcing you to do anything against your will. It's to sit down. Love says this. Love says, because I love you, we can sit and talk about it. Love does not force. Love is a principle based on God's love. And if it's based on God's love, it is not about being abusive. It is not about being a dictator. It is not about being these type of things. He had the perfect thing, even though he pulled back and wasn't going to go to church with her anymore or join her church. But he was still in a position to say, look, babe, listen to me. I love you. You see where I went with that, right? Babe, I love you. We have some problems. We have some things we need to address before I join your church. Or I'm not comfortable joining your church. Can we sit and talk about the differences in our different beliefs or in our traditions? And we can work things out that way. And if
Exactly.
he had gone down that road, maybe he would have gotten some level of cooperation from her, but instead he went a totally different route, and that route made something stood up in her that says, not so quick, buddy, you're not going to dictate to me that I'm going to marry you simply because of your religion. It's not happening.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. I think we are far beyond schedule. If we keep elongating on this matter, because I have another, I have another perception, that just occurred to me. We might not be able
Right,
to leave the studio on time, so
right.
we can move.
We can do
I'm
this.
sure we will have this episode next week, same time. We are still on Madam Michelle's story, whereby we're going to, all this. Keep the comments coming. Keep the questions coming. All these questions we'll put forth to her on our next session with her. And we'll also talk about her achievements because I know she is actually a very achieved woman in Africa. She is somebody to look up to. I've known her for some time. She's the president founder of Connecting Africa and Diaspora LLC, a very big network at that. And she's doing very well in the area of arts, media, culture. She represents G100 in Mali, that is the Great 100, and quite a lot of women forum. She's taking the lead. If we keep on elongating on this, talking about this, I think it's better we hear from the horse's mouth. Or what do you think about that, Doc?
I think she deserved getting a part two. When you started to talk, I knew already that we had to do a part two segment with it because she has an amazing story, and
Exactly.
this is what we want to do. We want her to complete her story because a lot of women can align themselves to this story. It may not be in the same area of challenge, which deals with religion and marriage, but as she tells her story, people are quietly listening and saying, I had an experience similar to that, or and I can align myself, and that's what we want. We want people to sit back and enjoy it
Exactly.
and learn and feel what she felt and make comments on it and stuff like that. So next week, definitely we will come back and do a second segment on it. I'm excited about it, except for the noise and everything else that we just heard. But I'm excited
Exactly.
to hear the second story. Definitely.
Okay. So we have had that from our wonderful doc. So we're going to take this session to a close. Stay tuned with us same time, same date next week, every Friday, 4 p.m. Central Africa your way. Until then, I remain your humble host, Dr. Dahan from Nigeria. Bye and stay safe.
All right. Take care.
Heart Talk Between Sisters radio broadcast. Tune in to a heartwarming and enlightening radio experience like no other. Join us on a journey of love, laughter, and lifelong connections as we explore the unique bond between sisters. Our broadcast is a celebration of sisterhood, offering a safe space for candid conversations, shared memories, and inspiring stories that touch the soul. Whether you're a sister yourself or simply appreciate the beauty of this extraordinary relationship, this broadcast is for you. Discover the secrets of sisterly love, support, and understanding as we delve into personal experiences and heart-to-heart conversations that will make you smile, cry, and reflect. So, grab your favorite cup of tea, get cozy, and let our Heart Talk Between Sisters broadcast warm your heart and lift your spirits. Join us every week for an emotional journey filled with wisdom, connection, and the enduring power of sisterly bonds. Don't miss out on this extraordinary experience.